gosh, look at the crowd.
Come this way.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Welcome to LMDtv. I'm Ashwini Vethakan. Joining us this week on Talking Business is the Director of Kelsey Homes, Arul Sivagananathan. Welcome to the show, Arul. It's good to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Our first question for this evening, Arul. Given the prevailing situation in the country and the world, what is your view on Sri Lanka's economy?
Sri Lanka has been through many challenges in the past 100 years. And the main challenge is currently we face as a country and globally is the current pandemic situation. So obviously all the countries have their own plans and how they want to overcome this. And Sri Lanka had its own plan. And actually we did quite well in the first wave. Since then, there has been some challenges. Sri Lanka has been through a war last 30 years and we overcame that. So I'm sure we will be able to overcome this as well. The country is resistant to crisis and we will obviously have few things that we will need to get it right. So one of the things currently we are facing is expenses, especially in the local government expenses. Which needs to be controlled, and we need to increase foreign exchange. So that needs to start with investments coming in. The challenge being that globally we are also in a kind of a recession or at least a slowdown, and hence every country is looking at their own perspective, and Sri Lanka is obviously not on the agenda for some of the major countries. So the best thing currently Sri Lanka can do is to make use of its strength, which is we currently have the port city, which is opening up very soon. So we need to make sure that right investors come in and that takes off. So that will give us opportunity for foreign income as well as employment. We also need to look at opening up tourism, which obviously has its own challenges, but I'm sure like we did last time, we can have our own bubble system where tourists will come and go without having an impact or major impact. Every country has its own challenges, and so will Sri Lanka will continue to have its challenges. But I'm sure we will overcome this. It's just like any home, when there is a crisis situation and we are short of cash, obviously we control our expenses and make sure that we take the right decision and investment and be ready for the next wave of things to come. And if Sri Lanka can get its act together and policies together, I'm sure we will be able to shine in about 18 to 24 months. We should be able to overcome the current situation and back to normal by 2024.
Business process outsourcing has become an important part of Sri Lanka's economy. Out of technical support and customer service, which one is more valuable to the local BPO industry?
So the IT BPO industry started growing in Sri Lanka in the early 2000s. And since then, we have had a tremendous growth. Currently, the BPM and IT industry contributes about $1.5 billion to the national GDP, and we are in the probably top 5 export revenue earners for the country. So it is a remarkable thing that tea took 100 years to come to the top, whereas the IT BPM industry was able to do that in 20 years. Having said that, the industry itself is looking very good because recently we had foreign investors coming into Sri Lanka IT BPM companies. For example, the IT company called WSO2, which received a $90 million investment from Goldman Sachs. And then we had Virtusa, which is one of the largest IT service providers, change hand, and this is growing at a steady speed as well. So, there are companies that's doing very well in the IT space. At the same time, there are Fortune 500 companies that have come to Sri Lanka and set up their back office, the BPO centers. Companies like Aviva, HSBC, and so on have set up large centers in Sri Lanka, and that too is progressing quite well. And we are seeing many more Indian companies coming to Sri Lanka to set up organizations as their second or third site. Obviously, the strength of this country is our finance and accounting professionals, we have large bodies such as ACCA and chartered accounting bodies who are providing high-end accounting services, high-end accountants to provide high-end accounting services. So we are able to export high-end work to the rest of the world. Our accountants hold high positions in most of the countries, whether it be Australia, UK, or US, Canada, and so on. And so we need to activate our diaspora from these countries to make sure that continuous growth of this particular sector. But obviously we are, to answer your question, we are more technical oriented. Our strength is more high-end work than call center or voice related BPO services.
Now, Arul, what are your thoughts on the local BPO talent pool, and what are the opportunities that exist within this industry?
Sri Lanka has a very high literacy rate. I think it's about 93% or more, and it is one of the highest in the Southeast Asia. So the talent pool we have is highly educated talent pool. However, the challenge is not only the language skills, because we do not have many English speaking or fluently speaking students or employees. At the same time, IT savviness is at the lowest. I think, if I remember right, it's about 40%, which is not the greatest. Where does it all start? It all starts at the school. So if you see, some of the Colombo schools have sort of invested heavily on the IT side of it. But outside of Colombo, you will see restricted IT investment. For example, the teacher who is teaching IT to the students, are they up to date with the current IT systems, IT changes, and so on? So they need to upgrade their skills and knowledge so that the students will be able to upgrade their knowledge as well. At the same time, our universities have done very well. In fact, Moratuwa University is one of the highly recognized university when it comes to doing challenges with Google. We are well recognized for our talent pool that comes out of the Moratuwa University. The other administrative challenges are also there for this talent pool, where we to get resources for this particular industry. Some of them are things like working hours, because some other companies have to work in the night. If it's a US-based company, they like to start work in the evening and work till early hours, 3, 4 o'clock. Some UK-based companies start work in the afternoon, like 1 or 2 o'clock, and work till 10, 11 o'clock. So anyhow, having working hours such as that, there are restrictions in the country where night working is a problem. At the same time, transport system. So we don't have a very safe and fluent transport system in the nights. So that again is another challenge. Also, service sector that needs to improve. How do you serve a customer? The etiquette, handling a phone call, and so on. So all that soft skill needs to be sort of brought to the table, and then we must make sure that these are done in a manner that is sort of not just for Sri Lanka, but also with a larger audience across the globe. Why it is? Because traditionally Sri Lanka is, I would call it, a shy country. They are very intelligent, educated people, but people are very shy to express. But at the same time, we are good at the service sector like tourism and so on, where we provide a very nice service and give a remarkable impression on the tourists who come to Sri Lanka. So we need to see how best to couple both of them to get the right talent pool. At the same time, I personally think that it is going to be a challenge to compete when it comes to pool with a huge pool that exists in Philippines, India, and China, and so on, where labor is available abundantly. So the problem is that Sri Lanka, we have let's say a working force of 5 to 6 million people. In that, Colombo probably has a couple of million people, and in that, a BPO or IT sector is a very minimal percentage. So we need to make sure that we are able to increase that pool of people to give the best to our global customers.
And on that note, we'll be going in for a short break. Welcome back to the show as we continue our conversation with the Director of Kelsey Homes, Arul Sivagananathan. Now, Arul, targeted towards achieving sustainable industrialization, what is the space for concepts such as sustainability and circular economy in relation to industrial solutions?
Right. So the Sri Lanka has been, obviously a manufacturing country as well, and currently the industrial revolution of 4.0, as they call it, is happening. Many of our companies have started looking at it, but not necessarily adopted it. So Industrial Revolution 4.0 is looking at manufacturing, including artificial intelligence and using automated manufacturing methods. Which also, at the same time, you need to be careful when it comes to industrial solutions is that anything that you import has to have certain value addition. So we as Sri Lanka need to look at how we can provide value added industrial solutions. For example, we don't export that much of industrial solution or value added industrial product overseas. For example, one of the companies is providing seat belts for a Japanese company for Toyota and so on. So for that company to be providing service at that level, it has to have high standard. And that's the sort of product that we need to start manufacturing. At the same time, the ESG needs to come into play. Basically, environmental, social, and governance factor, which is a high-in requirement in the rest of the world. And that factor needs to be built into the industrial products as well. And obviously, with COP26 just finished in the UK, environmental factor has become a huge challenge, and we need to make sure that whatever we produce is environmentally friendly and comes from the right product mix. So finally, the thing there is to make sure that we go up the value chain when it comes to industrial products and services, so that our solutions are far greater than just a standard buy and fix type of solutions.
So Arul, what are the key trends in the real estate space, and is there an adequate market for properties in the present?
With the present situation of any country, real estate is a challenge, especially the commercial part of it, because a lot of buildings are empty in most part of the world. But they are being put to new use, as they call it. For example, you see more and more training and development coming up. They will see more hospitals coming up. The infrastructure is being used for kindergarten, and where children are safe, they're kept, and so on. So you will see the change coming through in most of the in properties across in Colombo, especially. At the same time, working from home has changed the way we do business. So no longer you need to have your permanent desk and chair anymore in your office. It will be all hot desking going forward, and there'll be meeting rooms. If not, everybody will meet online. They will move. There are various ways of meeting online now. We have done so for last two years, and that will continue unless we see traditional companies where run by traditional people want to see their staff back in office. Then of course that model will get back to normal. But the way we work has changed. So, for example, this may affect the BPO IT industry as well. Basically, what happens is that now in US, you can a Sri Lankan living in Sri Lanka can work in the UK, can work in the US online. So they are able to work from Sri Lanka in their home and provide the services. So that may cut out the middleman like the BPO industry or IT industry. Veterans who have been sort of providing that service as a company. So companies now you can apply for vacancies across the world to any of the countries to work from home, and that the pandemic has really helped to sort of how can I say, bring the world together, or make a working environment much smoother and across the world. As well as you can have variety of culture and variation of people working together from different parts of the world. So obviously, the infrastructure as we go forward will need to come up with a new solution. So For example, recently, last week, a Sri Lankan company called Hatch, which was awarded the #1 working space solution. So they provide solution to come to work, relax, work, and sort of do your part. And they were recognized world over as #1 working space provider. So you will see that the commercial buildings will have to start changing the way they provide it. There won't be any fixed rate anymore. It will be pay as you go usage of desk and chairs or meeting rooms and so on. So it will eventually will happen. It has started happening in the Western world, where we are seeing changes in the way you use a building, the way you work, come to work, or the way somebody actually works from home. So things are going to change, and that obviously will come to Sri Lanka at some point in the future. And as more and more investors come into this country, they will expect changes in the way we work as well. So it's bound to happen. It's just a matter of time.
So then, when catering to these trends, what do you find as obstacles in this sector?
Okay, so currently construction companies are going through a bit of a challenge for various reasons. #1, we can't import due to restrictions on the dollar by the central bank. We also have a shortage of material. So things like you would have heard about cement and steel, aluminium, and so on. The shortage of material is there in the country. And then the third thing is the price is going up. Whatever you want to order, it's 2 years ago to now is almost 30-40%. You have to pay a higher price. So the construction cost is going up. At the same time, labor, and this is one of our biggest challenge. Those days we used to be able to import labor from Bangladesh, India, and so on. Now we can't import labor due to current situation. So that also has a bit of a problem. And also families are taking a bit of a safety view on this. So say if the father or mother or child needs to get to work or kid needs to get to work, they're saying, no, I don't think you should go into the construction site and work there. It's high risk. You may get COVID. So even though you're taking the jab, just stay home for another little more time and see how the situation is. So these are all adding to the current situation of the construction industry. From a contractor's point of view, there is a different challenge. Most of the contractors prefer, or construction companies, have to give a fixed price contract. So they give lump sum contract or fixed price contract back. The price is fixed, and that's how the builders or developers like to do it, because then they know the cost of the building. The challenge being that now the contractors have come and said, look, we gave you a price, we can't honor it. If you like, you cash the deposit, or you need to increase the price because prices have gone up and there are no material. There is going to be a delay because the materials are due to the shortage. So the contractors are also facing their own challenges. So we need to come to a middle ground to recognize their problems, at the same time make sure that whatever the projects that are started, completes on time, maybe with some delay, but definitely it won't be able to complete as per the budgeted figures. So it will always be a challenge now going forward, especially on the labor and material shortage, as well as import restriction. So I hope at some point in the next 12 months, the country will open up and we will have the right mix of things to do. At the same time, the investment flows in. I hope that the construction industry will be the booster. I mean, that will create jobs, that will create income to country, as well as investors to come into the country. So I hope that trend changes and we can get back to where we were.
Well, this has been an interesting conversation and has definitely shed some insights into the BPO and real estate sectors. Thank you for joining us this evening, Arul.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure being here, Ashwini.
Coming up, we have the latest updates from Life on Earth. Stay tuned.
You love the feeling of being renewed. To stay beautiful every single day. To breathe just like we do. Because you are truly delicate. Protecting the ones who've been with us through the years. With Ceolac Care, the only wood coating that truly protects you. Select Wood Coatings from JAT.
Welcome back, and here are the latest updates from Life on Earth. Both individuals and micro, small and medium enterprises acknowledge that digitalization is key to economic resilience amid the pandemic in the World Economic Forum's ASEAN Digital Generation Report. However, the impact of mental health across several digitalization levels remains similar. Digital fatigue, a deterioration in work-life balance and other concerns such as social uncertainties and declining incomes have exacerbated the situation. New opportunities are the lifeline for people, businesses and economies to rebound. To this end, increased adoption of digital technology is seen as the solution. 53% of ASEAN respondents believe that better health and hygiene are likely to be a reality in a post-pandemic world, while 32% expect a more caring and helpful society to be an outcome. Additionally, greater emphasis on digital tools and technology is considered to be among the top 3 possibilities in the foreseeable future. The most important skills needed to succeed in the post-pandemic world are considered to be self-discipline by 50% of respondents, technology use, global citizenship or global mindset, resilience and adaptability, and emotional intelligence and communication skills. Of those surveyed, 85% see digitalization as being important or very important for an economic recovery. When it comes to MSMEs, 74% of owners have digitalized at least half of their tasks, while between 51 and 76% want to digitalize all aspects of their lives. 66% of respondents identified payments as a key area for further digitalization. Moreover, 51% and 72% of those consulted who reported higher incomes want further digital adoption. According to the report, 57% of survey participants see poor and/or expensive internet as a barrier to digitalization, and 41% cite a lack of trust and cybersecurity concerns as obstacles to digitalization. Meanwhile, 29% of survey participants believe that a lack of digital skills, confidence, and opportunities affect the rate of digitalization. And that's all the time we have for you this week. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching and stay safe.